The future of any nation is hidden in the potential of its children. At Catching Them Young, we don't wait for greatness to grow. We ignite it early. This is where champions are noticed, where leaders are born, where purpose begins. Catching Them Young, because tomorrow begins today.
Hello and welcome to Catching Them Young, the show where we inspire the future, one young mind at a time. You are watching Achievement Channel, Nigeria's first 100% motivational TV station, dedicated to showcasing stories that spark purpose, passion, and the pursuit of greatness. We are broadcasting live from the School of Eloquence studio in Ikoyi, Lagos, and I'm your host, Sarah Andu. On this program, we bring you real-life achievers who are making waves across the world, people who started young and stayed focused, and are now helping others rise with them. Today's guest is a shining example of what it means to live with purpose and lead with vision. She is an education consultant, creative visionary, and passionate advocate for equity in education. Her name is Danielle Joshua-Babatunde, and she is the founder and CEO of Transcend Movement and Transcend Education. With over 8 years of experience in the classroom and in the leadership roles across the UK and Nigeria, Danielle has trained more than 600 teachers, shaped thousands of students' journeys, and continues to redefine what education looks like. Danielle is driven by her faith and her mission to help every young person, regardless of background, unlock their full potential. Stay with us because this is going to be an inspiring conversation you don't want to miss.
Catching Them Young, because tomorrow begins today.
So, Danielle.
Yes, hi.
You've done so much. You've done a lot of things. But let's start from here. Your beginning, how was it like for you, your childhood, growing up? How was it like growing up?
Yes, firstly, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you so much. So I grew up in the UK. I was born in the UK.
Okay.
So lived with my sister, my parents, kind of an normal background, I would say. My parents were working. But I experienced both private and state school. So my parents really believed in education, like every Nigerian parent, most Nigerian parents. And so it was always about being the best that you can be, you know, really aspiring high. So I was really nurtured. I had a really good community, church environment, was serving in the church from a very young age, singing and dancing from a very young age, and experienced going to a private school and also a state school. So kind of seeing that both ends basically. So yeah. Wow.
That's great. So we see that you had a very good background growing up, a childhood background growing up. That's increasing. So you hold a degree in politics and sociology, a master's in policy studies in education, and currently you are now pursuing a doctorate. That's quite impressive, you know. So what motivated you to pursue education so seriously at a young age?
Yes, I love this because education was never the plan. The plan was to perform. Right. So the plan was performance. So I was always doing theatre from a very young age, performing, camera, TV, that kind of thing. That was my goal. But then it actually started because I was 16 and I was in school and I was studying sociology. And the teacher said, if you are black, right, being in the UK, you are less likely to do as well as your white counterparts. And if you are from a working class background, so a lower income background, you are less likely to achieve an A star to C grade. And if you're a black boy, you're 4 times more likely to be excluded from school. And I remember looking around as a 16-year-old and thinking, this is actually true. Like, this is what I'm seeing around me. Like, these statistics are real. And so it was disturbing. It was disturbing enough that I was like, I need to do something about this. And even though I love my passions of performance and things like that, I wanted to go to uni to study sociology more, do something about it within the education space. Because I don't think it should be right that where you're from, should determine how well you do in life. So yeah.
Wow. So you're saying that there was a discrimination with, your color
Yeah.
because you were black.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like outrightly. It's not like, oh, because you are black, you're going to fail. But it's just that it's harder. It's harder to achieve. It's harder you have to put a bit more work. There's lots of different things. And I just never thought about it. But I noticed that it wasn't reality for me. But it was reality. I went to a private school, but I also went to a state school. Okay. So I saw that difference that, when I was in a private school, that's true. My friends who weren't doing well, it didn't really matter because they were just going to work for their dad. Whereas when I went to the state school, I saw a lot of my friends, that was the reality, that a lot of them did drop out of school. A lot of them did try, I saw that. I saw the statistic. And so I wanted to do something about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that motivated you to go into education. Again, when I did my degree, I thought I was finished. I did not. Okay. I'm not, by the way, I know that most people, when they do a doctorate, you would think they're really intelligent. I'm not saying I'm not intelligent, but you would expect that, you must love books. You must love to read. No, I don't. I think I'm just passionate, and that's what drives me to try and do something more. So, wow, that's an inspiring story. Yeah. That's inspiring. So, Danielle, many young people currently are watching and they think that studying is boring or hard. So, what helped you stay focused? Do you have any tips for students who find it quite difficult?
Yeah. Okay, so there's actually research, right? Okay. That if a young person has an idea of what they want to do in the future and they know how school can help them achieve it, they're more than likely going to have higher motivation and they're more likely going to have higher achievement. And what that shows us is that if there's a goal, if there's an end goal that each child has, that, okay, I want to do this. Okay, school can help me with this. I need to put effort because this is where I'm going. Whereas if they don't have a goal and we're just saying, pass your exams, pass your exams, pass your exams, there's no real motivation. Okay, I'll pass my exams because I'm scared to fail. I'm scared to bring shame. But when you have something driving you more, it will push you in the right direction. So I would encourage that young people should find out their strengths, should find out an idea of what they want to do, their passion, and try to see education as that stepping stone to whatever you want to do. I would also say start revising and working from the beginning, not waiting till the end, not waiting till your exam 2 weeks before you start reading. I think that really helped me personally, especially in A levels and, that's 16 to 18 age, where just before university. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Good. All right. That's good. But I want to ask you something. You made mention of having a goal. What about children who do not have, a good parental background and don't even have an idea of what having a goal is or, something they want to pursue? So how would you say that they can, have a goal actually, even if they don't have someone, to help them, picture the future for them?
Yes. Okay. I love what you said, because I think this is where school comes in.
Oh, good.
And this is where the institution of schooling comes in. And that's why I'm so passionate with the work that I do with Transcend education, because this is what we're trying to do. I think that if the curriculum in schools, if you embed in the curriculum about careers, future pathways, right from the beginning, primary school through to secondary, the teaching, basically. If every teacher, if you teach maths, English, science, whatever you're teaching, if you get the students to realize that this is not just for you to become a scientist or a mathematician, but these skills are going to help you in whatever you're going to do. If we can inspire the children from young and have this embedded in our curriculum, we'll be able to bridge that gap for children who have homes that unfortunately parents are not able to give them that support, or parents aren't exposed enough to be able to support them in that way. Then hopefully the school can be that bridge.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So the schools have a major role to play
Definitely.
in every. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
good. That's good. So you made mention of Transcend. Let's
Yes.
talk about Transcend.
Yeah.
So Transcend education. You've trained over 600 teachers in Abuja. What inspired that work?
Yes. So that was interesting. So when I was a couple of years ago, I went to do missionary work in Ghana. So I stayed in an orphanage basically for about 6 months. So I lived with children in their bunk beds, sleeping on their bunk beds in like a rural area, Asikuma kind of thing. So when I went there, I wanted to volunteer and teach. So I went to the school and said, yeah, I'm here to teach. And they were like, instead of you teaching, come and train our teachers. And I was like, why? I've only been qualified for a couple of years. I don't think I should be the one training your teachers. And they were like, no, trust me, you should train our teachers, because majority of them are not qualified. And, you know, whatever you're going to bring from outside, I'm sure it will be of value. So I basically, you know, put my postgraduate kind of courses together that I got trained in, and basically trained those teachers. And that was great. The teachers loved it. And then I went to another school and said, hi, I'm here to volunteer for a week. And they were like, instead of you coming to teach, just train our teachers. And I began to see that there was a real issue with unqualified teachers teaching, teachers that are not passionate, teachers that are probably just doing this to figure out their own path, and they're teaching some of the most deprived children. And so that's basically how Transcend Education started. It started because there was a need. And I realized that it's not just Ghana. You know, now that I've relocated with my husband to Nigeria, it's the same thing in Nigeria, it's everywhere. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So that's what inspired Transcend.
Yes.
That's quite impressive, Danielle. Let us go on a quick break and we would be right back.
Catching them young, because tomorrow begins today.
Do you feel terrified when speaking before a group? Are you stressed when asked to present? Do you bore people when speaking? Are you stuck with reading word for word? How do you give a speech with polish? Learn how at the School of Eloquence,
the home of public speaking. Attend our practical coaching in public speaking. Call 0802 303 2066 or log on to schoolofeloquence.org.
School of Eloquence, teaching the world to speak.
Catching them young, because tomorrow begins today.
Welcome back. Danielle, you talked about how inspired you were and how Transcend Education started. So I want to ask you, why is it important for young people to have teachers who care and use modern methods?
Yes, it's really important. Because if you think about it, a teacher is in front of 30 children, right? Every single day, each hour. And those children have an opportunity to either be demotivated or motivated. They have an opportunity to learn something new or not learn anything. And the responsibility is on the teacher. It's a lot, it's not easy. And so the teacher must be able to be aware of new forms of teaching, new pedagogy. They must be able to build relationships with their students and understand where each child is at. Or else we're just going to be having almost a babysitting building, a building where babysitting is happening and not learning is really taking place. And so even though my passion is really young people, a lot of people think initially that Transcend Education was just for teachers. It's not, it's for the children. But I recognize that if I'm training 100 teachers, you need to times that by 30. That's the amount of students that we are impacting.
Wow.
And so the teachers are the gateway, they're the access to the students. And so if you really want to make reach and impact and scale, you need to reach the teachers.
The teachers, wow. So you're saying reaching the teachers in turn,
yes,
you were affecting the students.
Definitely.
Good.
Definitely.
That's all right. So you were also leading careers and PSHA development for students in the UK.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that mean, and how does it help students prepare for life?
Nice. So career education is just basically educating young people about the future careers, jobs that are happening around the world. And so what I do is I embed that into the curriculum, where every subject is empowering and inspiring career education for students, where students, regardless of what subject they're learning, they'll be able to see the potential skills that they can learn.
Okay.
So that's career education. PSHE stands for Personal Social Health Education. And so that's usually in the UK a core curriculum. In Nigeria, they might make it similar to civic, but it's not quite civic. But that's the most aligned subject I can say. And so that enables young people to learn about themselves, and then learn about how they react with people around them, and then of course their future. So so I currently do that and embed that into the curriculum for over 1,000 students in the UK, but also imbibe that into Transcend Education, where we delivered workshops even just recently in Yaba. So hopefully for more young people to be more inspired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. So you're saying that the career education would help the children, have a knowledge or an idea of the kind of career path they want to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and know their strengths.
Their strength.
Know their interests. A lot of young people are just untapped potential. I found out that I could sing at the age of 12, right? And thankfully my local church, when I presented it to them, they were like, join the choir. When I realized that I could write plays, they were like, write the play for our church anniversary. They gave me a platform, right? But if I didn't have that local church to support me and enable that and enable me to practice, I might not have known my potential, right? And so it's important that every single institution, whether that's school, home life, church, mosque, whatever, that they are finding that untapped potential from young people and bringing it out, helping them to discover it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can you talk more about the PSHE development?
Yes, definitely. Okay. So like I said before, PSHE is personal social health education, and that is developing the minds of young people, developing who they are as a person, developing their identity, helping them to learn about life skills. I always say this to young people, that your qualifications may get you to the door, but your character is what's going to sustain you, right? And so the character development of each of the children as well, regardless of whether you are privileged, right, or whether you're underprivileged, how can you relate with people? How can you relate with employers? How can you relate, having this conversation, looking at eye contact, all of these skills that a lot of the affluent families teach their children. A lot of affluent parents teach their children how to stand straight, how to look, how to handshake. But people that are from underprivileged backgrounds, people that are from low income backgrounds, they are not always as exposed to that. And so these are just the different layers that we really want to bridge that gap so that a child can be from wherever, from the most slums of places, and they can come here and you can have a conversation with them and won't even know whether they're the ones that is from the island or they're the ones from, do you understand? And I think that's my heart. That's my heart, to be able to see that. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great one.
That's
a great one. So Danielle, for viewers at home, especially students, what life skills should every young person begin to build now?
Yes. One is communication skills. Definitely. Communication skills is so important. So your oracy, your eye contact, body language, all of that, being able to master that, being able to perform, being able to deliver a speech, because even in an interview, a job, you have to sell yourself the moment you step in. And so mastering communication skills is going to help everyone. Critical thinking is also really good. Being somebody that is able to solve problems, being a problem solver in any job, in any career, in anywhere you go. If you can solve problems, money will follow you. If you can solve problems, people will flock you, because there are problems that people are looking for somebody to solve. And if you can do it, you're going to get that opportunity. So problem solving, critical thinking, communication. I would say those three. Definitely. There's loads, there's a lot more, but I would say those three are key. Yeah, really key.
Yeah, communication especially, because a lot of people currently, they have quite a lot of things up in their head. They have quite a lot of ideas, great ideas, but they don't know how to pitch themselves.
Right.
They don't know how to, sell their ideas, or even, so I think communication is a very good skill for children, students at home to learn.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't expect that I have so much of things. I have a future. I have things that I think I want to do, but I can't express myself.
Right.
Okay.
With what you just said, actually, I think that stems from school. I don't know what your schooling experience was like, but in school, were you encouraged to ask questions? Were you encouraged to critique? Were you encouraged to contribute?
Not really.
Right. And that is most schools in Nigeria, right? Most schools, children are not empowered to ask questions. They believe that the class is going well because all the children are quiet and are copying what is being written on the board. This is the difference between overseas. So overseas in the schools, they develop critical thinking. They want students to critique. They want you to ask questions. They want you to contribute to your learning. So what you find when you go to university, I met a lot of Nigerians, Ghanaians, loads of students from around the world that would come. And in our seminars, they would say, so what do you think about this? The lecturers will ask, everybody contribute. What do you think? And you would find that the people from UK, USA, they would be able to contribute.
more, yeah.
Other students, they'll just be like, are you really asking for my opinion?
Your opinion.
Please, just tell me what the answer is so I can pass my exam. Like, I don't understand this. And I think that if we in Nigeria and Ghana and everywhere, if we can ensure that we are developing that critical thinking, that empowerment, that they're not undermining the teacher by asking a question, you're empowering them so that when they go out into the world, wherever they find themselves, they'll be able to contribute. So, yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. So let's talk about something really unique. Transcend movement. 7 original gospel theatre productions across UK. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. How did it start?
Yes. So that started, remember what I said, I love to perform, and my church nurtured that environment for me. And so I went to uni, and I've grown up in the church from a very young age. But I think when I went to uni was where I really kind of came to a crossroad where I really needed to decide, you know, my journey with God. Is it really for God, or am I doing lukewarm? And lukewarm just basically means, you know, I'm following my faith, but I'm still compromising on everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I went to university, I really decided that, you know what, this is the journey that I want to go on. This is what I believe is right for me. And I wanted to inspire other young people. I went on a missionary trip, and we actually did evangelism. And I really got so inspired that I was like, I want to be able to inspire other young people to experience what I've just experienced. And I realized that media was the best way to do that, writing a play. So I wrote a play of basically conversations and people that I knew, all into these fake characters, about real life journey, finding your faith. And I wrote this play, and I was in university. And you know, when you're in university, it's very easy to gather people around because you're all young and you all want something to do. So I managed to gather people and was like, guys, we're gonna do this play. And I told my best friend, and my best friend was doing it with me. And we did this play, and we had like 350 people that came, and 50 people gave their life to Christ. They decided that they're going to go on this faith journey. Wow. And so people were like, we want this, we want more of this. And so we did more, and we just went to different cities, and more people joined. And I think people joined because they wanted an opportunity, a platform to be able to also use their gifts for their faith. And so that's how we started. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. You said something that caught my attention. You said you in uni, you had to ask yourself that, was it, are you going to be lukewarm, or are you going to talk about that? Okay?
Yeah. So I think really, obviously, I've always known God. I've always believed in God. I've always served in church. I've been in church serving in church since like 11. I've been singing in the choir. So I know it all, like in that sense, in terms of church and going to church and prayer and all of those things. And I believe that prayer answers all things. And I've always believed that. And I've always operated in that. However, deciding that it means I'm going to put myself to the standards in which God, I believe, has set for me. That is where the journey really begins, right? And so in university, I found myself very lukewarm in terms of I was just compromising. I'll do whatever I wanted, whatever I desired, but still go to church. And for me, it wasn't until I went on that missionary trip where my really good friend, Michael, said, are you integral? He asked that question, do you have integrity? And I was like, I'm integral, I have integrity. And he was like, okay, so if you got your mum or your pastor to watch your life in every facet of your life, would you be pleased? Would you be comfortable with them seeing every area? And I think that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have integrity. And I think these are values, these are life values. Same thing, even if you're working in a company or a job, do you have integrity, right? And so these were life values that I asked myself in that situation, and I realized that, okay, no, there's more to do here, and there's more for me to do here. And I think when that light bulb switch came, I kind of made that decision that I'm going all in now. I know who God is. I believe in Jesus, and I'm going.
Wow, wow. So do you now say that there is actually more to just being here on earth and...
Definitely. I believe that there's a purpose for everyone. And I believe that some people discover that purpose. And I believe that some don't. I believe that some people create a purpose. And I believe that some people get a divine purpose from God. But I think that there's a reason for why all of us are here. And I think, again, similar to that goal thing that I mentioned, I think once you know that, then you can focus everything on that. And everything you do can have a purpose. And you're not just living meaninglessly. You're able to live meaningful. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
So why is it important for young people to express themselves, whether through art, theater, writing, or even tech?
Yeah, so good. I think it's really important because in you expressing yourself, you're going to inspire other people to do the same. If you think about like what I said with Transcend movement, how it started, because of the platform that I got in my local church, that inspired me that I can do something that I enjoy and that I really liked and I felt fulfilled. In me doing that, I was able to get, we had a team of like 50 people at one point, 50 other people to start using their sound engineering, camera, pianists, drummers, all these people with gifts. They also were able to be inspired. And you're able to send a message, whatever that message is, whatever that light is, whatever that message is, you're able to send it through the medium that you're using to express yourself, whether that's art, whether that's, social media, whatever it may be. So I think it's really important. It helps people to find purpose and also inspire others.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's true. That's true. So how has your faith shaped your journey, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, I think my faith has shaped my journey, like I said earlier, in terms of just finding my purpose, knowing why I'm here, and knowing that some of why I'm here is to empower and equip young people to reach their full potential and go above and beyond. And that has shaped my journey with Transcend Education, with Transcend Movement, and it has also shaped my journey because it keeps me focused on also doing that for myself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't inspire other people if you're not inspired.
Sure.
So because that fuels me, I'm able to also get other people to also do that for themselves as well. Professionally, I think the values that my faith journey holds, like I said, integrity, that's something that I had to learn and develop, and really realize that, am I integral in all things? Am I doing things the right way, or am I just trying to make shortcuts to benefit me? And so these are values that professionally, when you go into your careers, they want to see that you're integral. They want to see that you're honest. They want to see all of these values, and that's what is going to probably keep you in those companies. That's what's going to favor you by your managers. That's the light that's going to shine through to the CEOs and the owners of these companies, is people with values, right? People with good character. Because in this world, there's so many reasons why you shouldn't have good character. So when you're able to shine your light in that way, people are drawn to you and they position you in places that maybe you might not actually be qualified for. But that's what opens the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. So Danielle, you've achieved so much already, but if you had to go back and speak to your 12-year-old self, what would you say?
I would probably say to myself, you're young. Do you know what it is? I would probably say to myself what I would say to myself now. It's not going to change. And that's because as a 12-year-old, I always wanted to be older. I always wanted to do things quickly. Like I always wanted to move forward and
You
move
didn't want to
fast.
enjoy your...
I was never like in the moment. I was just like, moving on to the next.
moving.
And I'm still like that, right?
Wow.
And that's why I've done so much to people,
Wow.
even though I don't feel like I've done half of what I'm meant to do here. And I think that's because my mindset, I'm very futuristic. So I would have to tell my 12-year-old self what I'm telling my 30-year-old self, which is, you have time. Well, you don't really have time. It's God that owns the time. But that just enjoy the now, enjoy the present, be happy with what you have achieved now, and just continue to enjoy the process as you're pushing forward to your goals. That's what I would probably tell myself. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process as you're moving forward towards your goal. So yeah.
Wow. So while they were there, because you were telling them, why they are trying to pursue, they should also enjoy the process.
Honestly, because parts of those processes are not easy. You have a goal, and so parts of it you feel like I'm getting towards it, right? You're like, yeah, I'm getting this opportunity. But then when you get the opportunity, you realize it's whether it's, you're not earning enough, or whether it's whatever it could be, you might not necessarily be as content in it, because it's not quite the main thing. And that's why instead of finding your identity in things around you, just enjoy the process, because in the process it's helping you, whether you see it or not. It's giving you skills, it's helping you towards the goal. So yeah.
Oh, that's great, because I would say that that's true, because a lot of teenagers, young children, adults, they want to, get on to the next thing. And they just do not want to enjoy the whole process of, getting into that futuristic aspect of their life. And they just want to, I want to experience the
move on.
Yeah, that's true. So Danielle, for our viewers currently watching us, some are in school, so some are in challenging environments. So what's your number one message for them today?
My message, I think, would be that you all have a gift, you all have a talent, and you all have purpose. And through life, you're going to discover that and keep your focus on what it is that you have to serve the world. Because when you realize what you have in terms of your strengths and your passions, and when you realize how you can serve people, you will find that those things that you're chasing, whether it's money, status, opportunity, those things will follow. When you're able to serve a need and you're doing what you love by serving a need, everything else you'll find. It says in the word, it says that your gift will make room for you, right? And so once you know your gift, focus on your gifting and focus on how you can serve people, whether that's making the nation better, whether that's serving a need. You will find every other desire that you have, it will all come together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a knowing your gift.
Knowing your gift, knowing why you're here, knowing what you have, and then thinking, how can I use this to serve? When you do that, money will come, opportunity will come, platform will come.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So one more, you said knowing. How do they? Most of them are children in school. So how do they get to know?
Okay, so you can ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing? Right. So you ask yourself some questions. What do I enjoy doing? What am I good at? So you write those down. You might enjoy speaking. You might say, I really like speaking, or you might say, I really like helping people solve a problem. And then what are you good at? You might say, I'm good at maths, or I'm good at English, or I'm good at singing, I'm good at dancing, right? And then you can ask yourself, what do I care about? Okay. What do I look outside and it bothers me? Is it homelessness? Is it media, entertainment, not looking a certain way? There's something that you care about. There's something that you are yet to discover. When you write those three things down, what you enjoy, what you're good at, and what you care about, you'll be able to know.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Danielle, thank you so much. You've given us so much wisdom, motivation, and inspiration that every young child can transcend to their goals and to their visions. And to our amazing viewers at home, remember, greatness doesn't wait until you are older. It starts now. Whether you are in school, learning at home, or discovering your talent, take it seriously, dream big, and stay focused. Don't forget to tune in next time for more inspiring stories and valuable lessons. Keep the conversation going. Follow Arts Achievement Channel on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and YouTube for more inspiring stories and updates. Use the hashtag #WeSeePossibilities and share your own experiences with us. Until next time, believe in yourself, work hard, and never stop Rising.